Hip-hop since 1987.com.
So we're down in Atlanta right now, and I'm with Mr. Mahmond Abdul-Rauf. You've had a lot of time in the NBA. 20 years ago, you kind of were a visionary. You didn't stand for the National Anthem. It wasn't publicized back then, but living in the times we live today in 2016, 2017, San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick also did the same thing. It was more nationally publicized, and that brought back to your roots and the things that you did in the NBA. Could you kind of talk to me about back in the early 90s, just how things were for you in the NBA when you decided not to stand for the anthem?
It was a little different. A lot different then than it is now. You didn't have the advent of social media. Those type, look, anytime you take a position like that, especially as a black athlete, history has attested to that as well. There's going to be some backlash. And the media isn't always in our favor. There's a lot of, the brother mentioned it today, I think, Takia Smith, that oftentimes were misrepresented. You give a story and our story isn't really being told. And, so when the decision for me not to stand took place, that's exactly what happened. There was an assassination of character. There was this troublemaker. He's radical. Disrupting the team, and that was never the case. As athletes, we're used to crowds booing at us. We're used to those distractions. That ain't no distraction. When we get out there, we play, we work together. But this is the image that they wanted to portray. And because we're not in a position, we don't have access, and we don't control the media, they control the story. And even though there was a lot of support that was coming through, if they don't want to show that support, you get the impression that mostly everybody in the world is against this guy. And even though there was a lot of people that were supportive, atheists, Jews, got letters from them too, Christians, Muslims. But in Kaepernick's case, the times have changed because of social media, and you can't silence. The good thing is that there are a lot of people's voices that are able to be heard that can't be silenced anymore. And you have to take stock of that. You have to take notice of that. And I used the example today of Abdullah going into the end zone and prostrating, and then they wanted to immediately find him. And they were doing it until people began to speak out. And the media can't ignore that. When you see that overwhelming support, they had to pull back. They couldn't find him because of what he did. But if we didn't have that social media, who's to say that would have taken place? So it's definitely the times have changed.
I know you spoke briefly in a room before our viewers and listeners who were not there. Did you have a chance to speak to Colin Kaepernick, or did he reach out to you, after he decided not to stand, and kind of get your view or kind of get support from you?
I spoke to him, but he didn't reach out to me. I didn't reach out to him. It was some mutual people we knew wanted to make the meeting happen. Okay. And they thought it would be historic. So we met in an office in Oakland. I'm not into the business of giving people advice, so I shy away from that. I just listened to him. He listened to me. We listened to everybody around. It was just a sit down, just a casual conversation, and there was more agreeing. I don't even know if there was any disagreeing that day, and that was it. And just to acknowledge the fact, man, admire you, proud of you. This is what you believe. Keep doing it. Sustain it. And, it'll pay off.
Now, not only were you a visionary, I'll say, as far as social change and civil rights, not deciding to stand for the anthem in the 90s, but today's NBA game has evolved behind the three-point line a lot more than it was in the 90s. Yeah. And back in the 90s, you were known for your quick release, ball handling skills, and jacking up those, long-distance shots, similar to one of today's MVPs, two-time MVPs, and Stephen Curry. Yeah. Can you talk to me about how you seen the game evolve and kind of being, a visionary in that time, in the 90s, and, playing that style of style of play that you played then that is very popular now. Was it frustrating, being ahead of the curve or ahead of the game?
Well, actually, then it was a little different. A lot of, unless you were like an Isaiah Thomas, it was your team, or Iverson, it was your team. Unless the team itself decided that you're the marquee player that we want to represent, guards were looked at primarily, feed the big guy first, work off the big guy, and keep moving. The big guy could be a guy that's not even an offensive threat, but want you to this stale mentality and this one way of thinking that this is the way we've been doing. We're gonna keep doing it that way. The guy can be not even be an offensive threat, but they still want you to work through him, as opposed to say, look, man, if the forward is a guy, he can run the system through him. And so it wasn't like that when I was coming. It was more drop it in, work off, get your shots. Yeah, there were isolations here and there, but now it's just, man, you got the stretch threes, stretch fours. It's more of a guard-oriented game. You're not looking necessarily to feed the big man. It's less physical now, because then they had the hand check, and then you could put this. But that's not the player's fault. That's in a sense, it's a combination, but it's more so, I think, the NBA, because if this is the best league and the standards are here, demand that they get used. The human being's ability to adapt is amazing. So make them get used to it. But sometimes when the scoring is down, because even with us, sometimes this is a three-pointer. Scoring is down this year, we're going to bring it in a little bit. Oh, scoring is down, we're going to do this, that's a foul, as opposed to hand check. No, man, if this is all you're doing, this is what you're supposed to do, you get better. The athletes should adapt to the rules. Quit adapting to the athletes, right? And this is what's happened. But again, I don't blame the athletes. We were forced. The guys that can get our shot and do those things, then when they come out and say, hey, there's new rules. You can't do this anymore. You can do this. We got to follow the rules, because if we do this, we're going to foul out. So that's what's happening with them. It's not that they can't play physical. They can't play in that environment and be effective. It's just that these are the rules now. Now, I will say this, when there is resistance, like anything, it's going to make it harder. You ain't going to look as good. You ain't going to get a freer shot. That's just the nature of it. If I'm lifting weights, if I'm just lifting my arms, it's easy. But I put resistance on it, it's going to be a struggle. The same thing. And so, that's my thing. But I think too, man, it's nice to see big guys being able to shoot that rock, being able to handle that rock, just the creativity. I love it. You had that then. But sometimes back then, it was looked at more so of showboating. So you used it when you needed it. Sometimes now guys ain't going nowhere. Why? And I've always been big on use it when you need it. That's wasted movement as far as I'm concerned. Pop, 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 and go. That's just my humble take on it.
If you had a vote this year in the 2016-17 NBA MVP award vote, who would you go with?
Man, I'm the wrong guy to ask, because I don't really follow it like that. So I don't know statistics. I don't know all of what's happening. When I do watch it, there's just I like to watch competitive games. I like to see high level of skill, and I like to watch certain players. Okay. Because I think a lot of times when I see them, I'm gonna see a good.
Who are maybe one or two players that you enjoy watching?
I like to watch Kyrie. I like to watch Chris Paul. Okay. I like to watch Steph. I like to watch Kevin Durant. I like certain aspects. I like the fact of LeBron being a winner. I don't think he's not a great ball handler.
I dig it.
He's not a great shooter, but he wins. But in terms of skill level, those are the guys sometimes. I like Lillard.
From Portland, okay.
I like Westbrook. He plays both ends. I mean, yeah, okay, he might shoot 40 to get 50.
Yeah, I'm laughing.
Yeah, he might shoot 40-something. He might shoot 40-something to get 50. But I'm like, man, but I love his tenacity. I love the fact that he plays both ends. Yeah, so I mean, and each player, I like different aspects of their game.
Okay.
So I'm always just that And there are others, but those are the ones that come top of my head right now.
As we wrap up, we had an event for social change. I know you are still currently doing a lot across America, speaking and things of that nature. Can you just briefly tell me about what you got going on in 2017 and also how folks can contact and reach out to you?
Well, right now I have a website. I mean, not a website. I'm working on a website, but usually people are getting in touch with me through social media right now, or if I through these speaking engagements and all of those things, I pass along my information with my email. But the website hopefully will be up soon.
Okay.
But I'm just all over the place, man. I work with an organization called the Mood Foundation. They do a lot, not just in Somalia, but Bulgaria. They build wells. They support hospitals. They build schools. You have groups called the Helping Hand. Wherever there's a need and there's something that I'm passionate about and have a voice for, I feel that it's something I can say to be of benefit. I'm there. Yeah, I don't put myself in the box.
Okay.
He's just about, basketball or training, or he just speaks on this. I have a lot of passions and love. I just have a love for humanity. And, like I said, whether it's Tourette syndrome, whether it's healthcare, you name it, it's all relevant.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Great conversation. Pleasure.
Hip Hop since 1987.com.